private press in the nations today went on a blackout, decrying the government's neglect of their sector, opting to leave newsstand empty barely hours after the celebration of World Press Freedom Day. The fight against the coronavirus intensifies as the presidential aid reaches the population in some regions of the country. Meanwhile, the disinfection of markets continues, with National Gendarmerie also doing a bit to sensitize the population on the highway. This and more will be brought to you in a bit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Spectrum Television. We'll begin right away in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where two opposing transporter trade unions that failed to organize two strike action last month in Yaoundé are satisfied after the government on April 30th granted some of their demands in the anti-COVID-19 easing measures. Details of this with Emmanuel Kenjisi. We shall be coming back to that report and on to something else. The governor of the Southwest region has received the second consignment of the head of state assistance to the population. Governor Bernard Okala used the occasion to prescribe responsibility despite the easing of some restrictive measures. Details of this with Peter Susi.
As instructed by the Minister of Territorial Administration, the Governor of the Southwest region receives the second consignment of President Paul Biya's personal assistance to the population of the region against the coronavirus.
Assistance from the head of state to the grassroots population to pull them in the fight against the coronavirus. The SGO will receive it tomorrow, and Monday the distribution continues to be free.
While urging sub-divisional officers to ensure the package comprising test kits, buckets, hand sanitizers and face masks gets to the population, Bernard Okala Bilai says the recent easing of barrier measures calls for responsibility than complacency.
It's not because they say the bar has opened that you go now as some were celebrating, you go now and spend the whole night in a bar. Let us continue to observe a responsible behavior, particularly we of the Southwest region.
Media professionals in the region have been called upon to accompany the distribution process and step up sensitization campaigns to kick out the pandemic from the Southwest region.
About 600 face masks have been distributed to all 6 constituencies in the littoral region as part of the head of state gesture to combat the spread of COVID-19 in various districts, with an increased number of recoveries recorded throughout the national territory. Authorities say there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Details of this with Josephine Binze.
Some constituencies in the littoral region have begun receiving the second consignment of the head of state's gifts to the entire nation as a move to fight against the COVID-19 virus. The Douala 5 municipality smiles at the head of state's gesture as a senior divisional officer stresses on preventive measures.
Il y a aussi le personnel sanitaire.
There's also sanitary personnel who don't have to be exposed. If you have cured us, don't think you have achieved anything. Some will go ahead to say the COVID-19 virus has been contained, but no. We are still in the midst of the pandemic, and mark you that the virus is still dangerous. Even when going to bars, wear your face mask because it is still obligatory.
He went ahead to encourage the population on the content and how they should be utilized.
Before washing your hands, you need soap and a bucket as well as a hydroalcoholic solution. It's a packaged design for the beneficiary population to be able to fight against the coronavirus. The virus has eaten deep into our society. and I encourage the population to use it properly.
Et j'exhorte ici les populations bénéficiaires à en faire bon usage.
The head of state President Biya's action is going a long way to stretch an arm of solidarity communities that cannot afford these items. Cameroon, as at the time of this report, minutes over 900 recoveries as a strict implementation of government measures is the best formula to contain the spread of the virus.
Following the outing of the Prime Minister and Head of Government Joseph Diongute uplifting measures to mitigate the economic shock provoked by the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, some inhabitants here in the city of Douala have frowned against the decision allowing bars and restaurants, among others, to function after 6 p.m. They say the areas are fertile ground for contamination of coronavirus. Details of this with Oni Ladonet.
Moi, je me pose la question, pourquoi cette initiative, pourquoi les ventes emportées, pourquoi ne pas permettre de demander aux Camerounais de rester à la maison?
These and many more questions have preoccupied the minds of Cameroonians ever since the head of state's decisions on bars to resume at 6 p.m. To many, this decision will only help increase the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Cameroon.
Je ne suis pas d'accord avec ces mesures d'ouvrir les bars.
I'm not okay with the decision on opening bars because it will lead to an increase in the number of cases. I don't know why bars are open and churches and mosques closed. It's not a solution.
Moi, je suis tellement surpris de la manière dont le Cameroun gère l'affaire du coronavirus. I'm
really surprised at the way the government is handling the issue because I don't understand why 100 contaminated persons will lead to the closure of bars with more than 2,000 cases. Bars, snacks are allowed to operate normally.
À partir de 18h et les snacks, là où même c'est des lieux de contamination à outrance.
La décision n'est pas bonne.
The decision is not correct because the contamination will triple. Social distancing can never be respected in bars. When one is drunk, does all kinds of things.
They
wouldn't have taken such decisions because the cases keeps increasing daily.
Nevertheless, others have applauded these measures as they say it will help boost the economy.
For that we are happy because we were suffering before, but things will change. We are waiting because nobody is above the law. If the government of Cameroon has taken such initiative, it is because they want the economy to function. Many Cameroonians have been complaining, so we thank the government. Uplifting these measures have helped people to gain their daily bread.
Regardless of this, businessmen in Douala still complain of the slow nature of business.
Nous voici toujours avec les ententes, mais ça ne passe pas très bien.
Things are not working that well because we open but don't get customers. Look at our shop. Nobody. By God's grace, things will work out well.
Ça doit aller un peu. On attend voir si ça peut vraiment aller.
As of 1 p.m. April 4th, Cameroon has over 2,077 confirmed cases of coronavirus, with over 953 recoveries and 64 deaths.
The Littoral Gendarmerie has intensified the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. A team led by the Legion commander was at the National Road number 5 to make sure or to ensure that travelers wear their face masks and equally respect road safety. We shall be having the report with Peter Susi.
The easing of restrictive measures has been an added motivation to the National Gendarmerie to intensify the fight against the coronavirus. It is for this reason Colonel Bikele Pierre-Aimé, supervised by the Chief of Staff of the 2nd Gendarmerie Region, is stepping up sensitization campaigns on the wearing of face masks.
Particular key of this control is that concerning the pandemic, the COVID-19, because all people are supposed to wear masks.
Defaulters are scored on the advantages of adhering to this measure. Another aspect looked out for by the littoral gendarmerie officers is ensuring social distancing, which is dicey, especially after the new regulations.
We cannot oblige them to respect the distance inside their vehicles, but out of the vehicles, they have to respect distance, space.
Apart from keeping COVID-19 at bay, road safety rules must be respected.
The wearing of a safety belt, the speed limit, bad state of vehicles.
Sending a strong signal, those who failed were slammed financial penalties.
And back here at Spectrum Television have benefited from over 400 face masks to be distributed to workers and staff in order to help them mitigate the spread of coronavirus. This benevolent action was done by Star Times, and aside the distribution, a sensitization operation was equally carried out. We shall be having a report with Binzi Josephine.
Workers and staff of Spectrum Television have benefited from a total of 400 face masks as part of the fight against the COVID-19 virus in Cameroon. Star Times, standing at the forefront of this gesture, say they carry the burden of the media.
Avec the coronavirus pandemic is a difficult situation. Star Times and STV are major organs, which makes it impossible to stop work or even work at a distance. You have to remain on the spot. At the same time, it is important to protect ourselves. Given that we are partners, it is our pleasure to reach out to STV to keep a good relationship and equally protect you.
The move has been warmly welcomed by administration.
Alors, c'est avec beaucoup de plaisir que nous recevons le géant.
It is with enormous pleasure that we receive our partners from China, Star Times, in the telecommunications sector. We all know how important it is to have face masks, and they are one of the most recommended items to fight against the COVID-19 virus. It's a pleasure to have a partner who stretches an arm of support during this pandemic. Just to remind our viewers that STV and Boom TV are part of the satellite gifts that is proposed to Cameroonians.
Satellitaire qu'il propose aujourd'hui aux Camerounais.
Located in the heart of Akwa in the littoral region, which is the second most affected city, the move comes in a time where Cameroon records about 2,000 cases and thus can be effectively brought under control if more preventive actions continue.
Let's now talk about religion. Muslim faithfuls worldwide and those in Cameroon in particular are moving through the first phase of the fasting period with the hot climate condition. Our reporter Ajara Ali find out from the Muslim faithful on how they are coping or managing their test. Her report.
One of the most trying moments in fasting during the month of Ramadan is how to manage hunger and thirst. When talked to feeders in the city of Douala, notice for excessive hot weather, majority hold the opinion that is patience and total supplication to Allah.
It's just patience and endurance. It's for the sake of God. We just have to control.
But when the scenario becomes unbearable, the Quran says there may be exceptional cases who may feel physically unable to go for longer hours, then they can break the fast and make it up after Eid prayers.
On ne voit pas d'inconvénients, puisque si on dit par exemple il fait très chaud,
I don't see any inconvenience. Here the weather is better in Douala. What about our grandparents in the north, where it is excessively hot? They support the temperature.
Tu vas voir que la température est très chaude et nos grands-parents aussi, nos frères musulmans s'en sortent.
Fasting considered obligatory upon Muslims who have crossed age of adolescence needs not to be tempered upon, and it can only be forbidden if someone forget and drink water without any intention to break his or her fasting day.
Africa's largest economy, businesses across the country have been shut down. Their offices as well as people are asked to work from home. The shutdown has been especially hard on the wedding industry because of its independence on crowd and physical gathering. Details of this with VOA.
Patience Ozohu has enjoyed a lucrative business in Nigeria's wedding industry as a makeup artist and beauty consultant for the last 20 years. But she says avoiding physical contact with her clients is a difficult task in her line of work.
The different textures of the products we use and the texture of our client's skin, we need to be able to gauge that so that we are not, goofing while we're doing our job. And a lot of thought goes into what we do. And if we are not able to touch and feel, okay, it poses a serious problem.
An average Nigerian wedding costs about $13,000, with high-profile weddings costing over $250,000. The industry generates tens of millions of dollars each year. But due to safety precautions over COVID-19, many of its business are facing challenges.
I have weddings that have been booked prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, and now we have to reshuffle appointments and bookings, and nothing is coming in. Clients are panicking. Some want to cancel, some want a reduction.
Most weddings in Nigeria are public and have large crowds in attendance. But with government banning public gatherings of more than 50 people, many couples have had to cancel their plans.
My wedding program, this is my baby girl, Yaksan, and then 25th April will have been the day. But then looking at this, so we have to change everything.
This couple says the pandemic forced them to change all their arrangements.
I have to call all vendors that we've contacted already, from the people with the hall to have a new schedule, to people who will be supplying us with drinks, to people who will be cooking. Everything just changed with this pandemic.
Ozohu is optimistic and says her company will find new ways to stay in business while maintaining safety precautions for herself and her clients.
I would have to use gloves, I would have to use a face mask, if possible use a face shield, okay, so that even if I'm talking or the client is talking, there's little risk of cross transference, and as much as possible sterilize as we move along.
Despite the restrictions over the spread of COVID-19, some couples are choosing love over the fear of contacting the virus. It gives hope to those in the wedding industry that they too will carry on. Ifyok Etang for VOA News, Jos, Nigeria.
And that foreign news brings us to the end of the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in company of our programs. Good night.